Hey family, how you guys doing? Good, I hope. Let's try and get a good angle here. I hope you can still hear me. I know it's quite windy out here today, and I hope it isn't too loud. Cool. I hope you guys are doing good, yeah? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations, and if you resonate with my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, any negativity, any hate, please keep it on your side of the street, okay? Won't be acknowledged. Cool. So yeah, in this specific video, I've been guided to get into the topic about gaining a higher perspective on recognizing your prayers being answered. Whichever side of the world you come from, that word makes you feel more comfortable, right? Anyway, a lot of the time we find ourselves praying and asking for a change and wishing and hoping for things in our lives, and feeling like we're just stuck in the same cycle of the same bullshit, and we don't really find ourselves recognizing the change or want to recognize how the prayer is being answered, because we're in a world where we believe that we need to be in control of everything, right? We need to be in control of everything. We need to see proof with our physical eyes. We don't trust our feelings, we don't trust our intuition, we don't trust our certain change in experience. Sorry, that's the cars out there on the highway. For us as human beings in this world that we exist in, and how let's wait for that to pass. How we're groomed and made to understand our world and get to a point of saying and agreeing and digesting with ourselves that okay, something is real. We expect to see it in front of our faces. We expect to have something physical and something tangible, right? And we're not groomed or trained to take into regard the different spiritual and internal ways that things maybe need to first change before we start creating and seeing the physical change in our lives, right? And this is with regards to prayers and things being answered. And if you believe in a higher force and a higher power, or that there is a specific energy out there that works with us and our energy and our vibrations to always help shift things as they need to be and bring things back into balance, depending on how far off balance in a certain space, area, situation, experience, or whatever it might be in your life that you find yourself in. When we pray and ask for a change, when we pray and want something new, something fresh, something different to show itself in our lives and our experience, we want to always first look for the physical change, and we become resistant to how the prayer comes in, how the answer comes in, that maybe in many cases requires us to be a little bit more attentive to how the changes are first starting to happen on the inside. Maybe the higher power requires you to make your internal changes first and work through certain lessons and gain higher perspectives on certain areas of your life, certain cycles you find yourself in, certain kinds of people you find yourself engaging with. The list goes on to what we could possibly need to have to work through and work out of our lives first before we're able to have a certain answer or prayer manifest, or even just move into a space internally, mentally, to be able to perceive a prayer that is being answered, or a request, or a kind of manifestation we're trying to bring into our lives. I'll use myself as an example, right? Get a little bit more personal in this one, right? I have a horrible string of narcissistic relationships, and it is within my intimate relationships of my past, it is within friendships too, and somehow I just always found myself in some pretty shitty situations in the past, that then led me to having to, walk away and end certain relationships. And the relationships that I had to come out of, it got to a point where it was so bad and so deep and so hurtful and so life-changing for myself that I started praying and asking for a change, for a different type of experience when it comes to the sorts of relationships that I somehow keep attracting, and I'm not understanding why am I always attracting narcissistic people of different kinds. I've had to experience in my lifetime, and I mean right now that is up to 32 years old, right? A whole string of different kinds of breeds of narcissistic people who were just horrible in the end to have to deal with, and have taught me some pretty harsh lessons and pushed me into spaces of having to learn and understand things so that I could get myself out of those situations and empower myself and put myself on a higher ground to be able to maneuver as an empath out of those kind of situations. And instead of on the physical and just on the mental, trying to fight the cycle that I was in and the people that I found myself with, I think I internally got so tired that I ended up praying. I ended up praying for a change in the kinds of people and the kinds of energy that I always found existing in my life, hurting me, tearing me down, being the kind of people and energy that I've had to always pick myself up and heal myself from. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who can resonate with what I'm saying. I started praying, and something I was not able to perceive in the past with a change that I kept on asking for was that as the prayer comes in, my biggest lesson was having to first realize, where did the narcissistic pattern begin? Where did my lesson, where was the lesson? Where did the lesson with the narcissist in my life begin? That I needed, that I was running away from, or that maybe I wasn't trying to recognize. Why was I in a space of recognizing love in those kinds of people, and how the Most High, or the higher power out there, had, began with bringing this change into my life, was by first making me aware of where it all began. And where it all began was with a narcissistic mother. In many cases, we don't want to actually label or realize our parents as narcissists, because that's where our idea and our examples of love and connection have come from. What we don't realize is that by hanging on to that as our idea and as our way and as our example of finding love and, you know, receiving on the outside what we recognize as what we're supposed to be receiving on the inside from people who are close to us. We go and we try and find a resemble of those kinds of things out there. And how my prayer for change started being answered was by the Most High working with me first on my inner man, so that I am able later to recognize the change in the outer, because I have now aligned my inner differently. I've recognized, I'm able to perceive now that my idea of love, of feeling secure, or my past idea of love and feeling secure and like someone is filling and bringing something into my life, came from what I was receiving in a very dysfunctional way and manner from a narcissistic mother that I have. And the only way I was able to recognize that was by going through the Most High, taking me through a whole however many years of bullshit to the point where I was, because look, I'm not someone who gives up easily. You know, if it doesn't work this way, I'm someone who's gonna be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna give up, I'm gonna make this right, I'm gonna get this right. So I went through a whole bunch of bullshit, pushing myself into a space of becoming a wounded warrior, until I got to the point of falling down and praying and asking for help from a higher source out there in creating this change for me, because I wasn't understanding why do I keep on seeing the same kind of bullshit wrapped up in a different fucking body. Where did it all begin? Why is this what I'm connecting with? All of these were part of my questions, part of me trying to understand, trying to elevate, trying to learn, trying not to be back in these same horrible, heartbreaking situations where in the end you're left alone to pick up all the pieces by yourself, gain your own perspective, and the ones who were completely dead inside off onto the next person or the next victim. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? For me, it began right down to my mother. It was my mother. And it required the Most High ripping everything away from me. Ripping everything away from me and putting me right back as a whole adult into a space where I had to work through, recognize and perceive what the hell it was that I came from and why I left the nest into a world only resonating with the parts that are going to wound me the same way that I was being wounded in the thing that I thought was loving me, the thing that I thought was supporting me, the thing that I thought was showing me the right way. I ended up looking for that very thing in the people that I was connecting with on the outside, only to be disappointed every single time, fighting to be heard, fighting to be, recognized, fighting to be treated like you're something that is deserving. I was in spaces that just evolved differently that were exactly the same, like the home situation I came from. Abused in a home situation, and having to recognize that as love, and then going out there and being abused by other situations that are suppressing you, and somehow you're unknowingly recognizing as love too. So the Most High had me work on my inner man, and where we become resistant when our prayers are being answered is when things start shaking up in our lives, and the higher power out there is trying to get you to work on your inner man, and you become resistant because it requires you to actually go within, do your shadow work, and look at yourself so that you can start resonating internally with something different, with a higher perspective, and allow that higher resonance, that higher perspective to align you with the appropriate things on the outside. So maybe in this video I can just encourage people to, again, take a step back, take some alone time, whip out your journal or whatever it might be that, will help you get your thoughts out there and digest what is happening within you. And ask yourself and try and recognize, where have you asked for changes in your life and felt like they just haven't shown up, when maybe, just maybe, they have tried to show up, but when the higher power tried to bring the change in by working with your inner man first, where have you maybe become resistant? Where did you become resistant? Where did you maybe only expect to see a physical change in your world and your life, but not recognize that what maybe appeared to be a problem was a part of your answered prayer? In many cases, things in our world need to fall apart so that they can be rebuilt new again. We can't ask for new, wanting to exist in that pacified idea of new with the old foundation. It doesn't work. Spirit, Most High, the higher force is going to tear everything down, make you learn your lesson, and then move you into a place where you can have and grow within a new, complete experience. And that tear down is a lot of the time hard. You're gonna feel like your world is being ripped out from under you. You're going to have to let go of things that maybe you've worked for so long and so hard, and maybe everything will be taken away that was part of your old paradigm, and the changes that you're asking for require you to not be resistant to letting all the things go. And the more resistant you become, the more your soul asks for the change and for the lesson to finally be resolved. The harsher it's going to be. In many cases, the very things that we want to elevate ourselves to require us to understand the both extremes. So sometimes you will ask to be dependency free. The Most High will teach you your lessons and make you first know what it means to be completely dependent. Recognize where you're dependent and make you break away from all of those things. The Most High might take your non-dependent life and rip that all away and put you into a place of being completely dependent, so you'll be able to appreciate what it means to be completely dependency free. And sometimes that might require taking a step down from what you're used to or what you perceive as, a step up from where you came from, in order to propel you up to the areas that you're hoping for and wishing for and expecting to experience a better change in your life. If you don't go through a process to get to the change that you want, how are you going to keep it? How are you going to appreciate it? How are you going to ground it in your life and your experience and be able to pass that experience on to the next? And in these times where a lot of the time is where the Most High or the higher force out there will teach you what it means to have faith, teach you what it means to have patience, teach you what it means to trust a process, teach you how to start living and developing a higher perspective and living through that higher perspective, and not just perceiving your life through the little view of what you only see happening in your immediate, but recognize that, okay, I've prayed for this, so this is the bigger picture to attaining what I have prayed for. Let me try not be so resistant to the changes that are being made, to the truths that I'm being made to see within people around me, so that I shed what is not supposed to be, or what cannot be a part of my answered prayer. I have so much more to say about this, because I think it is such a big experience that us as humans go through and are so distracted from, and made to only see from a surface level, so that we're programmed to only see from a surface level, so that we give up and we don't choose to persevere and work through the things that as an individual we're meant to work through, and not always want to match our experience to someone else's on the outside, which is what the outside world wants you to live like and live by, because that means, again, as I say in all my other videos, that means you're feeding into a system and into a certain way of society, right? Again, everyone's higher perspective on the issue and what I'm saying right now is going to be individual. So yeah, let me take a card out of the flower therapy deck, right? And I hope that this conversation, it's getting a bit long, I know, but I hope that it's helped people maybe gain a higher perspective on how to be open to seeing where their prayers and their requests for help and changes in their life might be trying to make its way in, but because we want to be in control of everything, we don't want to accept that maybe the change begins with the higher force trying to work with our inner man first and change our ways of thinking, habits, and ways of being, and removing things that don't serve us, right? What's come out is the New Beginnings card. How relevant is that to what we're talking about? The flower is the bung sphere, and the card says, take this as an opportunity to rise from the ashes, stronger and more determined. I think that's nice, right? And let's see what the book has to say about that. New Beginnings. Surrender. If you're going to pray, and if you're going to ask for a change, and want something different, and want something new, the first lesson, the first step to getting that is surrendering. Surrendering, going within, and not being afraid to have to first recognize what needs to move and change within yourself, because the Most High, the higher power around you that you believe in, will make that visible to you. Whether you're ready to recognize it or not, that's on you. You're strong enough to move through this. Please know that you're being guided You're being guided and supported by your loving angels. Heaven is bringing you the energy of Bangsphere, a symbol for starting anew. This is your God-given chance to pick yourself up and rebuild. Times may have been tough in the past, but the worst is behind you. Everything ahead is smoother, more comforting, and safe. I mean, when you're aware that a change is starting to happen, we don't have to be so wanting to be in control and feeling unsafe and like, you know, things are crumbling in our lives. Yes, they might be crumbling to build up again because we've asked for a change. So maybe we need to let go of the fear as well. Let go of the fear of letting go and of things and our reality and our space changing and not wanting to be in control of how that comes, and pick and choose what is meant to be around, or what we want to be around with our change, and what we don't want to be around. Maybe the very things that we want to have stick around are not actually conducive and supportive to the change that we're looking for or want or asking for. There was a bug on there. Anyway, let me finish reading. This card asks you to ignore the lower energy, ego-based thoughts that say you're done and your dreams have turned to dust. Attune your inner voice to the high vibrations of flowers, the angels of nature. They'll bring you strength and courage to take the next step forward. Additional meanings to this card: move on from a toxic relationship, let go of a depressing career, shift your focus from health concerns to health improvements, release the past. Your future is getting better. Your finances are changing positively. I really hope that this conversation brought some light to whoever's watching, and maybe allows you to take a bit of a new approach on how your expectations reside within you around how you expect your prayers to be answered, and grab a new perspective and co-create and work together with the Most High or the higher energies out there that you believe are existent around you to help you bring your changes and your higher experience of life in. Okay? Thank you for your time. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!